All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm Joe Hoffend, VP of Product at Foundry, and I'm excited to talk to you today about who is Foundry, what have we been up to, and how we might be able to help some of y'all. So, Foundry was started in 2019. We're a wholly owned subsidiary of Digital Currency Group, or DCG. And the initial idea behind starting Foundry was that, back then, 4 or 5 years ago, there wasn't really anyone working on what the institutions or the enterprises were going to need when it came to blockchain and infrastructure. And so the initial idea was start Foundry, and we're going to try to empower decentralized infrastructure with these institution type customers in mind. So in 2019, our founding CEO, Mike Collier, was hired, and he got to work. And so back then, if you kind of just rewind in time, Bitcoin mining was pretty in a huge bear market. ASIC prices were extremely cheap. And so just looking around and where there was opportunity, we decided to just buy up a ton of Bitcoin miners and become a self-miner. And so to this day, we're one of the top Bitcoin miners in the space. But when you become a Bitcoin miner, you need to point your hash rate somewhere. And so a lot of the pools at the time were based out of China. And we wanted to move a lot of that hash rate into North America. So we got to work and we started building the Foundry USA pool, which is now the #1 Bitcoin mining pool in the world. And from there on out, we expanded to other products and services that these institutional level miners needed. A lot of those are private companies who then went public, and we think the next wave is going to be energy companies and then governments and so on and so forth. But we've really built our brand and our name around Bitcoin. However, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, we started staking. And so we started staking all of DCG's assets that they had on their balance sheet and really kind of built up our expertise, our knowledge, and our capabilities around offering all these different protocols, their nuances, and really just building up a suite and an institutional grade kind of offering around staking. So today, we're actually at about 170 employees, half of which work on Bitcoin and those products and services, and half of which work on not Bitcoin. And so as I was putting the slide together, I just kept going back to Silicon Valley of hot dog, not hot dog. And I thought Bitcoin and not Bitcoin was a simple way to think about it. So we've got half that staff working on proof of stake protocols in one way or another. So the protocols we support today are many of the ones that you've probably heard of and are very popular. We actually launched our Ethereum staking products along with the Shapella upgrade. So that's out in the world now for people to use. And we support a number of layer ones or other folks in this room who've protocols that we work on. And we kind of take a quality over quantity approach. So we're not trying to do support 60, 70, 80 protocols all at once, just for the general public to use. We want to find the protocols where there's demand, there's a need, maybe there's more of an institutional kind of product or service around kind of that protocol. But you'll see, for example, we do support BitTensor. So we launched our BitTensor public validator along with the Finny update. And it's actually ranked #2 right now, only behind the OpenTensor Foundation themselves. So we're always looking for new protocols to add. So that's why I'm here. I want to talk to all of y'all, see if we can work together in some way, shape, or form, which I'll talk about more in a minute. So when I talk about institutions, in the sense of staking, who are the folks that we're really thinking about? We're thinking about venture capital, hedge funds, custodians, liquid staking providers, anyone who's got size in terms of tokens that they have on their balance sheets themselves or through their end customers. So a custodian, for example, all their end customers who use their product, they can integrate staking through Foundry into those products and services. So that's who we have in mind as we build. And as we talk to these folks, something that really differentiates us, that is very appealing to them, is that, as you've heard in some of the other talks today, much of crypto is centralized around the big 3 cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and GCP. And we kind of took note of this as we were building out our staking business, and about a year ago said we really want to lean in and build out our own bare metal offering. So we have been doing that ever since. So we use a tier 5 data center and have our own holistic bare metal offering. So our entire e-staking product is using bare metal at this point. And so, those other cloud providers, they're tier 3 or tier 4 data centers, totally fine, all well and good. Tier 5, the customers alongside us in that is the government, military, this top tier echelon of customer who just needs 100% uptime, security, all those kinds of things. So that's who we're using in terms of our bare metal offering. And this has been quite appealing to the protocol teams we talk to the customers we talk to. they don't want to be so dependent on public cloud themselves as they build out their products or services or think about who they're using. Something we saw last year was a company called Hetzner out of Europe. They actually just kind of woke up one day, emailed out everyone and said, hey, if you're doing any kind of crypto use case on our platform, you got to get out, you got to get off. So you could have been doing the most harmless thing, just running a node, something super basic, but you had to get out. And so, while a lot of people believe the probability of that happening with the big three is quite low, you can never be too sure. So, that's why we wanted to really take this approach of helping in one way decentralize, the staking and validators and all the other services that we offer. So we have for a while internally at Foundry had this concept of labs, and it was a kind of a working group of us who would evaluate the newer protocols that were coming to market. They were still early on, maybe on a test net, and deciding, what are we going to work on next? Where are we going to spend our time and our resources to kind of build and support? And so since then, we've actually formalized it quite more, where we have a whole team, or we call it the emerging protocols team, just focused on these newer protocols. And so we've got a team on Ethereum, for example. We've got a team working on the other L1s, and then we've got a team just focused on these newer protocols and where some products or services or support can be offered up. And so, we are collaborating with teams such as BitTensor, Space and Time, SSV, Stakewise, and a bunch of other ones, just to see, what do they need early on? As they build, as they come up with maybe their server configurations or their specs, we can kind of have a back and forth with them about what they need. And many times, they may be running out of credits on Azure or AWS, and so we can talk through with them what they need. And so when people think staking, a lot of times they just think running validators, but we can actually, and are interested in doing much more than that. So any of this other kind of infrastructure-ish needs that these teams have, we're interested in having a conversation. So this could be indexers, relayers, sequencers, archive nodes, or we have a bunch of GPUs. So if you need help training a model, or you would like us to point some of those towards one of your marketplaces to help out, or you just need maybe a server cluster that's bespoke in nature of some sort. Talk to us. We can help. We're doing that with some of these other teams. We're helping them out in various ways. So no matter how bespoke you might think your need is or how different it might be, we've got a whole team of really crypto savvy, crypto native, passionate folks who want to be figuring out how to help you and work with you. And we've got our Bitcoin maxis on the one side, and then we get our degens on the other side. And that's how we think about it, and that's how we structure our teams. So we're really passionate. We're really excited to help out the space. We think we all need to kind of work together and collaborate. And we just think there's a lot of ways that Foundry can help that we haven't even discovered yet. So between all the different infrastructure we have, the bare metal offering, our GPUs, we're quite bullish on the space and how we can help you all in the room. So we just want to have a conversation. So if you think of something interesting that you think we could help you with, let me know. You can reach right out, and I'd be happy to chat and connect you with our team as well. So thank you very much.